Tonight on News 13.
Coming up, I'll tell you how the community came together in less than 24 hours to help a family in need have a wonderful Christmas.
A fire completely destroys 2 homes in Minersville, and now fire marshals are investigating. I'll have that story.
It's home sweet church for one local family moving into the old St. Mary's here in Latimer. I'll have that story.
This is News 13 Now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to News 13 Now. I'm Kathy Bazinski. It's a story about what makes the greater Hazleton area truly great. What began as an emergency call revealed a local family struggling to get through the Christmas holiday, or any day for that matter. Samantha Galvez tells us how some employees of West Hazleton Borough and some local residents came to the rescue of a family in need.
You know, it's an unfortunate situation they were in, and fortunately we were able to help them out.
West Hazleton Borough workers created a miracle for one family this Christmas.
Everyone should be like that.
Patrolman Brett O'Connor was on duty Christmas Eve when she responded to a dispute at a home on Winters Avenue. What she found was nothing less than shocking.
And these people were cold, they had jackets on, they had no heat, they had no furniture, and they had no toys for the kids for Christmas and everything.
It was then when O'Connor personally reached out, making it a Christmas day they'll never forget. West Hazleton Mayor Frank Schmidt and O'Connor tried contacting local charities, but all of them were closed with Christmas just hours away.
We didn't know what to do, so we all started donating money. All of us that were there, everybody donated money.
Borough employees, firefighters, even complete strangers began donating money to help the cause, allowing O'Connor to purchase many gifts and necessities for the family. And while the family wished to remain anonymous, neighbors say they were shocked after hearing that someone on their own street was deeply struggling, and it just goes to show that you don't always know what's going on in your own backyard.
It's so shocking because when you see everything on your street, we all know who to see. We don't know everybody by name, but to see what's going on, it just goes to show you that you really don't know what's going on next door.
The family was overwhelmed with the city's generosity, and the mayor says he's still making efforts to give the family what they need.
They're going to be helped. You know, we're going to do our best to help them out.
And to top it all off, donations are still coming in almost 1 week later.
It was such a great thing that they did, and it goes to show you the police officers that we have in this town, they care about the people.
I'm not surprised. There is some nice people out there, and it was nice of them to do what they did.
Samantha Galvez, News 13, West Hazleton.
Well, police blocked off several streets in Hazleton today while they reconstructed the scene where one person was injured when they were hit by a car earlier this month. State troopers and Hazleton police continue their investigation at the intersection of 15th and Grant Street, where an unidentified woman was hit by a car while crossing the street back on December 3rd. Police aren't releasing much information about the case. They just say the investigation is still open. Police did say the pedestrian who was hit is still receiving medical treatment for the injuries she suffered. Cameras at Puff and Stuff Quick Mart caught the accident on camera, and employees say the woman appeared to be jogging and not paying attention when she was hit by the car.
Joggers also have the responsibility to look out for traffic. I know a lot of people have headsets on when they're jogging, and they don't. You also have to listen with your ears for anything that's going on. And when they have headsets on, you can't hear everything that's going on. You can't hear an emergency vehicle. You can't hear if there are any other cars coming. So I'm not saying she's at fault, definitely not, but you as a pedestrian, as a jogger, have to be on the lookout for, any danger to yourself too. My advice to anybody walking is to yield to the oncoming traffic. When the vehicles are involved and you're on foot, you have to yield to the cars that are traveling.
The intersection of 15th Street where the accident happened was reopened early this afternoon. 9 people are homeless after a fire raged through 2 homes in Minersville on Sunday. Today, folks there are trying to salvage what's left of their homes. And as Matthew Petrillo tells us, investigators are trying to figure out what sparked that blaze.
These families are still dealing with the loss of their homes in Minersville after a fire ripped through it. It started at 524 Pine Hill Street and spread to homes on both sides of it. Those who lived in the homes, too upset to talk to our cameras today, collected any remains they could, salvaging everything from old furniture to small personal items. But what they couldn't take was the house itself. The fire chief says the homes at 524 and 526 Pine Hill Streets are total losses, and both will eventually have to be torn down. The owner at 526 Pine Hill told News 13 off camera he could barely look at the home, which he says he built himself about 10 years ago. The community is coming together to help their neighbors. Mountain Restoration has offered to help board up the homes.
Obviously, the home is damaged, it's not unrepairable. We're boarding up so no further damage comes to the property and no one goes in there, no children play in there and hurt themselves.
Already boarded up on the roof, so no anyone else comes up. Insurance companies don't fall through. That's secure. Windows.
While the family at 526 Pine Hill Street did have insurance, a couple living at 522 Pine Hill did not. They recently bought the home and plan to fix it up, but will now likely have to move in with their parents, though it could have been worse. Fire crews were dispatched to the homes around 2:55 Sunday afternoon, while the residents were in the basement at the time, not noticing the fire until they came upstairs. Now, no one who lived in either of these homes were injured during the blaze. A fireman, though, was hurt, but he is getting treatment. 7 fire companies responded to the fire, and the Red Cross provided food, shelter, and money for the occupants of 522 and 524 Pine Hill streets. Now fire marshals are trying to determine the cause of the blaze. They wouldn't speculate and say the cause is currently not known. Matthew Petrillo, News 13, Minersville.
Well, a family that did lose their home to a fire earlier this year has begun to rebuild its lives in a new location. Christina Papa explains how the family found sanctuary in its time of need.
The Klotz family's new home is under construction.
Well, we finally moved in on Sunday. We finally moved in all our stuff and our gifts from friends and family.
Nearly a year ago, Arlene Klotz and her family lost their home and 2 dogs in a fire.
We were house shopping for several months, I would say a good 6 months, because we came to realize we couldn't build a house on the property that we previously lived on.
She says the process of starting over and looking for a new home has been tough, and that she's found sanctuary in the most unlikely place.
By accident, I came across an email and I seen the picture of the church, so I asked my husband if he wanted to see it.
On a whim, the family went to visit the site of St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church in Latimer. It's been up for sale since 2009.
When we came to see it, we just fell in love with it. We decided right then and there that we wanted to buy it and just thought it was perfect.
The family has big plans for their new space, which includes the rectory, church, and parish center.
My daughter will eventually live in the directory. She's planning on getting married in a couple years after she finishes college. My husband and I will be living the church as our home.
The pews, confessionals, pieces of the sanctuary are still in the building today.
We'll be converting it. The master bedroom will be up on top of where the balcony of the organ was. Our living area will be the church, and then on the far end will be the kitchen.
But what really sold the family?
Community's really nice. It's quiet, something we're used to. It's more or less a place for our family and extended family to gather. I don't know, it was more the excitement of starting over, and it just felt right.
Christina Papa, News 13, Latimer.
That's pretty cool. Still ahead on News 13 now. Some serious snow on the horizon, followed by some Arctic cold. Tell you all about it in News 13 weather. But first, we enter the last days of 2013 with the top 3 stories of the past year. We'll have a story which is still baffling investigators when News 13 Now continues.
You're watching News 13 Now, local and loving it. You're watching News 13 Now on SSPTV. Brought to you by Samson Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
As we enter the final days of 2013, we continue our countdown of top stories with a Hazleton man who's still battling back to good health as police continue to investigate the case of the beating victim found left in the street to die back in March of this year. Since that tragedy, the family has pleaded for help in finding the attackers, and the community has come together in support. The brutal beating of A.J. Gorel, number 3 on our list of top stories of 2013.
Experts from the Bureau of Criminal Investigation processed the scene back in March where drag marks, handprints, and bloodstains were found on the street. Hazleton police responded to 5th and Lafayette Court early in the morning on March 10th. That's where they found an unresponsive assault victim. Police later identified as 33-year-old Andrew A.J. Gorel of Hazleton. Drag marks led them to 591 Lafayette Court. One man inside the home was taken to City Hall to speak with police, but no one was charged. Gorel was treated on the scene and then taken to 2 nearby hospitals for treatment. Since the incident, Hazleton police have released very few details about the case publicly, hoping that those responsible might tip their hand.
He didn't do anything wrong. He was there, had a few beers, whatever happened after. That's why we're asking everybody, if anybody knows anything at all, call the chief.
In late March, Goral's heartbroken parents attended a Crime Watch meeting in Hazel Township to ask for the community's help. They even brought pictures. AJ celebrated his 33rd birthday from a hospital bed in an induced coma. AJ's parents, Carol and Andrew, say AJ was a good kid with a good job, and they can't understand why someone would want to do this. At times, it was even too difficult for the parents to answer questions at all. Police say AJ went out Saturday to buy a new phone and perhaps stop for a drink with friends. However, they still are not sure of what happened.
We're still, as a police department, trying to figure out what caused his skull to be fractured in several places, his jaw to be broke, his nose to be broke, the orbits of his eyes to be broke.
Since March, AJ has undergone major brain surgery, has had continuing therapy, but still isn't well enough to come home from the hospital. Part of his skull that was removed to take pressure off his brain swelling was reimplanted, and he continues to have surgery. The small steps forward and several steps backwards have become draining for his family. And with medical bills piling up, the community came together to help relieve the stress.
Well, there's a lot of people involved. We are trying to keep our name out of it. It's all about AJ. We don't want to take any credit for this event. Everyone that helped organize it knows who they are, but it's ultimately all about AJ.
A fundraiser was held at the 4th Street Pub in West Hazelton to raise money. The Goral family was shocked by the amount of support they had received from the community.
We would come out a Sunday afternoon on their own time to do this for our son. It's unbelievable. We appreciate everything.
We're so thankful. We just want to thank everybody who participated, who donated, everybody who turned out.
In News 13's most recent visits with the Gorals, AJ's family says his health has been like a roller coaster with its ups and downs. The family continues to push the community to help find his attackers, but his case remains unsolved. Christina Papa, News 13, Hazelton.
Time now for News 13 weather.
In tonight's weather shot, we're local and loving it in downtown Minersville, where there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on this Monday. Maybe some folks getting ready for New Year's or maybe a coming snowstorm. Checking the National Weather Service radar, the occasional snow shower here and there. If you drove along the roads today, you might see a few flakes swirling near the ground, but nothing much to worry about till we get to Thursday, and there is the potential for a huge mess. Here's News 13 weather from the National Weather Service for Greater Hazelton for tonight. Mostly cloudy and cold with a low all the way down to 12 degrees. And for Tuesday, New Year's Eve, a chance of snow afternoon, but little or no accumulation to impact your New Year's Eve celebrating, a high of about 27. Partly cloudy as we count down to 2014 with a low around 14. And for New Year's Day, partly sunny with a slight chance of afternoon snow showers, high near 24. 40% chance of snow at night with a low around 18 degrees. Then Thursday, here we go, snow likely, 70% chance. Depending upon how two approaching storms track, we have a chance of anywhere from a snow you can shovel to an all-out nor'easter with high accumulations. We'll let you know what happens in the next day or so. The high will be 29 degrees. And snow will continue at night with Arctic temperatures moving in, a low down to 6 degrees. Friday, then finally, we clear out, partly sunny with a chance of snow showers, but a high only making it up to 13 degrees. Heading to Schuylkill County for tonight, mostly cloudy and cold with a low around 15. Then for Tuesday, mostly cloudy with a chance of light snow in the afternoon. Only about a half inch, high near 30 degrees. Partly cloudy as we ring in the new year with a low around 16. For New Year's Day, mostly cloudy, a high near 26. A chance of light snow at night with a low around 19. And for Thursday, a 50% chance of snow with a high near 31 degrees. A chance of snow, and it'll get colder at night as well with a low down to single digits, 8 degrees. And for Friday, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of some snow showers, but the worst of any snow will be over, a high near 14. And let's check the winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you play the daily 329, Big 4 1354, Quinto 28308, and the treasure hunt 1 16 26 28 29. Hope you won.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. One announcement for this evening: Bright Beginnings Early Learning Academy, located in Cunningham, inside the Christ UCC Church, will be holding a 3-day open house January 3rd through 5th. Parents are invited to come see the facilities, meet the teachers and the owners. For more information, please call 570-436-8748 or check out brightbeginnings.org. ELA.com. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Rosemarie A. Sowers of Sugarloaf. Services were held today from the Harmon Funeral Home. Michael T. Cotton Zelazny of Hazleton. Private services will be held from the David D. Jarrett Funeral Home. Joseph Anthony Matz of Ringtown. Mass is Friday at 1:30 p.m. at the St. Mary Roman Catholic Church. Friends may call Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Orovitz Home for Funerals. And Alfred M. DeLazio of Hazleton. Funeral will be held at the convenience of the family from the Joseph A. Moran Funeral Home.
This is News 13 Sports.
Well, the playoff picture in the National Football League is now set, and if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan, it could not have ended in a happier fashion than it did last night. The Eagles, who got off to such a slow start this year, can you say Michael Vick? Well, they turned it around. Was it a coincidence or not? But Nick Foles deserves an awful lot of credit, and the Eagles are the NFC East champions. No one would have believed it 3 months ago, but here they are, and they did it last night in grand fashion. The final 24-22, they thwarted a late Dallas rally, and so the Eagles move on into the second season. Now, as far as some of the other teams, the Steelers did what they had to do, win, and they got losses from Miami and Baltimore, but they couldn't get the trifecta. San Diego won, and so the Steelers are out of the playoffs for yet another year. The New York Football Jets, they came away with a win. That probably saved Rex Ryan's job, and it put Miami out of the playoffs. So the Jets finish with the win 20-7. And Mike Shanahan, fired earlier today by the Washington Redskins. The Redskins, they basically were there in person, but that's about it, as the Giants beat them 20-6 yesterday and finished their season at 7-up and 9 down. Now here's the playoff picture, so you get an idea exactly what's going to happen. Of course, the first two seeds get byes, and that means the Eagles are going to play on Saturday. They're going to be hosting Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. That'll be a night game down at the Link. The early game that day will be inside at Indianapolis. It'll be ex-Eagle coach Andy Reid. He will be trying to get past the Colts and Andrew Luck. Now on Sunday, you got San Diego at Cincinnati in the early one, and then the 49ers go up to Lambeau for the late game on Sunday. And of course, all the other teams get a bye, and then they'll have the week off and then be ready to roll from there. So we'll see how it all plays out, but we now know who the entries are into that. Other pro stuff to tell you about: the Flyers will skate at Vancouver tonight in the American Hockey League. It was lost weekend for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. They lost on both Friday and Saturday. They lost at a shootout to Hershey Saturday by a score of 2-1. And the pros aren't the only things. It's kind of a rarity when we're this close to the end of the year, but we actually have a basketball game locally to tell you about. The MMI Preppers will be taking on Lackawanna Trail. That's in the Taylor Lions consolation game, and that one's going to be played today. Tamaqua will also play North Schuylkill, and in girls basketball, Columbia Montour Votech will be over on the north side to take on the Lady Preppers of MMI.
Our last Trivia Treats show for 2013. This is the eve of New Year's Eve. Hi, everybody, on this December 30th. Welcome to you, but goodbye to 2013. At the end of every year, we pay tribute and remember the athletes and former sports figures that we lost during this past year. The list is so long that we don't even have enough time to mention all of them. But let's remember some of the most significant and say goodbye to Stan the Man Musial, one of baseball's greatest, was 92. Deacon Jones of the Rams' fearsome foursome was 74. Bum Phillips, coach of the Oilers and Saints, was 90. Harlan Hill, all-pro end of the Chicago Bears, was 80. Ken Norton, the only heavyweight champion who never won a title bout, he was 70. Andy Pafko, forever known as the Brooklyn Dodgers left fielder who painfully watched Bobby Thompson's shot heard round the world sail over his head, he was 92. Artie Donovan, famous lineman for the Baltimore Colts for 11 years and in the Hall of Fame, was 88. Chuck Muncy, running back of the San Diego Chargers, was 60. Virgil Trucks of the Tigers, a 177-game winner, but in 1952 was only 5-19. However, 2 of those 5 wins were no-hitters. He was at 95. Walt Bellamy was 74. Bill Sharman, 8-time All-Star of the Celtics, was 87. George the Boomer Scott of the Red Sox was 69. L.C. Greenwood of the Pitt Steelers, Steel Curtain, was 87. This announcer called 16 Super Bowls, 26 Masters, and 21 U.S. Opens, and he worked 21 years with John Madden as his color man. Pat Summerall was 82. Jerry Buss, owner of the L.A. Lakers, was 80. Golfer Ken Venturi was 82. The $1 Million Mermaid, who won an AAU swimming title in 1939 as one of Hollywood's biggest stars, Esther Williams, was 91. And 3 days ago, Paul Blair, former Orioles outfielder for 11 years, who won 2 World Series for Baltimore and 2 for the Yankees, was 69. Great names who left their marks in sports history. Finally, the biggest name passed on last week, but has not been buried yet, but will be soon. Candlestick Park in San Francisco. To all our viewers, we wish you all a very healthy and happy new year. Till 2014, be a good sport and stay loose.
Rocket is your typical carefree, fun-loving dog, but without the Ruth Steinert Memorial SPCA, Rocket might not be the happy dog he is today.
He's made my life wonderful. He's the best Christmas present I ever got. He does he loves life so much.
5 years ago, Rocket was rescued by the SPCA after being hit by a car and left on the side of the road for several days. And even though the tragic accident left him paralyzed, you wouldn't even know it because he's one of the happiest dogs in town.
I adopted him and got him a wheelchair, and now he's a shelter mascot.
And while the SPCA has saved many lives like Rocket's, the shelter has recently gone through several tragedies that could potentially put them out of business, starting with a fire that burned down nearly half of their facility in 2011.
It was devastating. To not be able to have the kennels open for a length of time while they were under construction really damaged our financial situation.
A lot of these guys require thousands of dollars in vet bills, and after the fire that burned down half their facility 3 years ago, the shelter is still facing huge financial hardships.
Our biggest expenses are our veterinary expenses. We are a no-kill facility. The animals stay with us until they find a home. That means that we're treating every illness and every issue that comes through that door.
Following the fire, the shelter took on several tragic cases, including 22 cats who were rescued from a hoarding incident and 14 dogs who suffered animal cruelty. Both cases required serious vet attention, and without much of a discount, the bills just keep adding up.
We don't get much of a discount. We pay just like anyone else that goes to the vet.
The shelter is mainly in need of monetary donations, and if you would like to help, you can call the shelter at the number on the bottom of your screen.
We've got a bunch of happy, healthy animals here just waiting to find a forever home.
Samantha Galvez, News 13, Pine Grove.